about the people that come on the show and they're telling me that censorship in America isn't real, but censorship in Russia is real, when I'm like, I can't even tell you my opinion on certain topics without getting banned. Okay, it's insane. I try to tell you something that's controversial, non-mainstream, they ban me. We're persecuted. I feel like Anne Frank.
Calm down. I read that book. I read that book before, like in school.
Yeah, I did too. And it's, you almost got me right there.
Was it called The Diary?
Yes, it was, and you almost got me because I almost claimed it to not be, what
it is. Yeah.
You almost got me because ballpoint pens weren't invented at that time. They weren't, and that's what the freaking book was written in.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah.
How do you know what it was written in? Does it say like in the book, like what it was written with?
Yeah, the diary, like the firsthand diary. You can tell, like there are professionals who study handwriting and what pen was used and how they would write and the emotions that they get out of the writing, stuff like that. And it was determined it was a ballpoint pen, and ballpoint pens weren't even invented at that time. It's all a joke.
So maybe the Enzies actually did have alien technology, aka ballpoint pens.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did. Or maybe what I should do moving forward is trim about half of my mustache on both ways and just accept reality.
So are we live on everything now?
We're live everywhere. We got one viewer on TikTok. Hey, how's it going? We're banned on our other channels, so this is why we're on this one, and we're glad that you're here with us.
Yeah. We got some topics up there. If you guys want to talk about something else, let us know. Make sure you check out the other TikToks, MOT Today, MOT Media, MOT Sports.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, in total, we have over 70,000 followers, but, TikTok doesn't seem to like our talks too much. We get quite a bit of attention, and then they're like, yo, you need to dial it back because that mustache looks too good. That's what they tell me anyway. So
yeah, they haven't told me anything like that. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you check out our YouTube.
Yeah, I know they haven't because you're Grizzly Adams, and I am like a 70s detective. And
actually, I'm a wizard. One of the people called me a wizard before.
Hey, you can be a wizard. They call me Ace.
Yeah, one could say that maybe wizards were the detective of that age. They were trying to like figure things out. And
yeah, I mean, I guess you could try to make an argument.
Assuming magic was real.
Magic is real.
The dragons thing is pretty interesting. I know you were talking about that the one day.
Yeah, I think dragons are probably more real than the way they describe dinosaurs. But gosh darn it, gonna get kicked off again for misinformation.
Gosh darn it!
Right?
Gee golly!
Dude,
I don't know. I don't know. I think dinosaurs are cool. Today, I was playing with my son. And he got like a new dragon stuffed animal, and we have this like big pop up castle, and I was acting like a monster, and the dragon was throwing it at me like it was trying to get me to keep it away.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
what's up, y'all? What's the first topic?
China and Russia. Those guys and BRICS, all those other countries that are like, yo, screw the United States because the United States sucks. They're like, we're going to come up with a new currency, and that new currency is going to rival the United States dollar. And we'll see how it works out. I mean, it's going to take a long time in order for them to actually get this going, but they're working on it. They're working on it. So I think it's not going to I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. I mean, maybe it'll happen in our lifetime. Who knows?
Yeah, why wouldn't it? How long is it going to take, dude? It's all fake bull crap anyway. They're just making some kind of fake digital currency,
Well,
and
let's
then
not let's not diminish what they're doing here. I mean, the United States dollar is not something that anybody in their backyard could create and then make it a global reserve currency. Like that takes a high level of intelligence,
well,
high
yeah,
distribution, a good supply chain. You also have to convince people to accept your dollar over everybody else's dollar for certain things. So I get what you're saying, but like, nah, man, it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of time.
yeah. I mean, I definitely will happen in our lifetimes, though. I mean, I think it'll only take just a few years. And I was just thinking about this when you were telling me about this before the show. What if what if this is what leads to the US digital currency? Because they're going to be like, this is going to be their arguing point. They're going to be like, we have to do a digital currency so that we can keep up with the Russians and
It
our
already is.
adversaries.
It already
Well,
is.
yeah.
Jerome Powell already said like a month ago that the only way for the United States dollar to remain competitive in this environment is for it to go to a digital currency.
Well, that's interesting that he said that before they came out and said they're going to do this, but he must have the foresight to have foreseen, what's going on.
Yeah,
He
either that or the fact that blockchain technology is consuming a lot of the financial industry, and so what they're doing is taking over cryptocurrencies by pegging or trying to peg stable coins to the United States dollar on a Federal Reserve level. Therefore, all of your stable coins are going to be in dollars, meaning if you're going to withdraw out of the stable coin, you're going to get a USD as opposed to any other currencies. So, I mean, it could have been just something, as I've talked about numerous times before I even knew China and Russia were trying to make their own freaking currency, that they just put together that, like, yo, if we just pegged the dollar to all these stable coins and made them have to go through the dollar, we just keep our global reserve status.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know how I feel about this shit. What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? We'll see. But I think it's going to take some
Sorry
time.
about that.
I think it's going to take some time before China and Russia actually come up, or the BRICS, countries come up with anything that will compete with the United States on any level.
Yeah, as much as it seems like the East and West are divided, they kind of toe the line on a lot of the same issues, like the cough and sniffle debacle.
Yep.
Talking about what else? Oh, this digital currency thing. They're all about that, both of them, even though it's not necessary. I mean, for ages people have lived without it, but it's just interesting how certain things they fall in line and they agree on, and these things seem to revolve around control.
Right. I mean, this is what we talked about the other day on MOT Today regarding Russia. I had stated some things that Putin had correctly addressed regarding the United States, and people lose their mind when you say anything regarding Russia or China and how they have some correct perspectives on the world, especially in the Western world. And it's like, yo, just because I'm telling you Putin or Xi Jinping said something correct, said something that's truthful, and their nations are doing more to help the sovereignty of other countries than the United States, doesn't mean that I'm a fan of Putin or Russia either, because I do think at the end of the day, in some capacity, they are involved in an agenda. Whether it be for us or against us, they're involved in an agenda. And that's what every politician around the world is. So it doesn't matter if they're doing something good right now, right? Because they can still be bad. Like, we can look at them as they're doing something good, but it doesn't mean that they're actually doing good. Like, they could be tricking us. You know what I
we're
mean?
just comparing the different, countries.
Exactly.
And dude, I heard a crazy interesting stat today. They said that the number one GDP was, I believe they said China, and then US was second, or vice versa. But then they said the third GDP was BlackRock. And if you combined all the other countries together, BlackRock was more than that. That's
impressive.
crazy.
It is.
Have you ever heard that before?
I haven't, and I think that the Federal Reserve, if I'm not mistaken, hopefully this doesn't get me kicked off of freaking TikTok for misinformation. Don't take as what I'm saying 100% truthful. I think I read somewhere that BlackRock is actually managing a lot of the United States government's money.
They probably own most of it, so that makes sense.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, they probably do. So, yeah, BlackRock is a huge, huge fountain of wealth. And a lot of people are becoming aware of who they are. You know, they used to just go under the radar. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah, we've had corruption for years, but especially the last few years, corruption throughout all the countries has been raging, like the tyranny. And actually, now that I said the word tyranny, it's the way you say tyranny. I've never heard anybody say that before. You say, like, what do you say, tyranny, or what do you say?
I don't know. I thought I said tyranny.
Oh, okay. Well, it must be something else. You say some words like interesting sometimes, but anyway,
tyranny,
all these countries, like, we're all in the whole tyrannical thing the last few years, but now all of them are resigning, and there's like all these protests and stuff all over the world. So it's like really interesting. How is it a coincidence that we had these last few years where all the countries were doing the same BS and upsetting people, and now like it's all falling apart?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a lot of, I would say, cooperation that's taking place. Whether I don't even know that it's cooperation, to be honest with you.
It just seems like some of the more powerful countries are forcing their will on other countries more than cooperation, or at least forcing their will on the elites or the people in control in those countries.
Yes, I would agree with that. That there appears to be an effort by different groups to force their perspectives, their beliefs, their motives, their objectives onto smaller groups who wield more political influence over the masses, which could.
And right now we're experiencing like a cleansing almost. Like there's so many countries, where they're like resigning, and the mainstream media is not covering these protests.
Yeah, I know. And I think the reason they're not covering the protests is
they don't want to inspire people at home.
I don't know if it's necessarily. I mean, yeah,
it would take a lot to inspire Americans, because it seems like Americans are very complacent with things.
Yes, and I think that's mostly because of programming, but that's a whole nother topic. I think the reason why they're not being shown. Forgive me for yawning. I just got super tired. I think the reason why they're not being shown is, for one, it goes against the narrative, right? Because why are they protesting? They're protesting due to the globalist agenda. It's very blatant.
That would be like an overall, if you're going to blanket statement, the globalist agenda. There's obviously separate issues for everything, but blanket reason why, that would be why.
There's definitely that component to it. And also, if you look at the way they're framing all of this, they don't even take in consideration, as you've alluded to, the fact that we shut down the world for like 2 or 3 years. And that
they say it's all They say that they're all protesting because of inflation, and they don't really like talk about the corruption much.
No.
And
they don't even explain the inflation correctly, because while prices have gone up, and you can consider that inflating of the prices, it doesn't mean it's inflation in the way people understand inflation, which is money printer go burr, people spend lots of money, prices go up. That's not what's happening. Money printer did go burr. There is an inflation, which is why, also, like, I know it's you trolling me in the chat. So it's like, the supply chain's breaking down. Money inflating the money is no issue. That's not my point, and I've addressed my point several times, and that is money printer goes burr. Money does inflate. The money supply does inflate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the prices of items are going to conflate with the inflation, because there has to be the spending of money. And so what we're seeing here is this: money printer go burr, world economy go down, everything halts. And now where are you spending your money? Where do you think people are getting $30,000 to drop on a home for a down payment? Right? So, I mean, like, people are spending absurd amounts of money on getting homes and other things because they've been sitting on cash.
Well, they were, but now they're not. And now that's why you're experiencing deflation. Because
No.
if there is anybody watching this, maybe I just don't understand exactly what you're saying, and that's why we differ on it, or maybe we just don't agree. But it's just the prices have gone up, and the money printer went burr.
Not for everything.
Okay, I guess it just depends on like where you're buying things. You're
That
saying
is
the
a
supply
huge
chain
thing.
issue, huh?
I said that is a huge thing. So I'll finish. So
Yeah.
So the prices of items are going up, and they're primarily for items that you'll get in supermarkets, and they are specific items. They are mostly your foods, your fuel if you're going to the gas station, right? But then mostly everything else isn't experiencing the same kind of price increase. And that's because there's a lot of factors when it comes to food, right? We have a bunch of food plants being destroyed, whether they're we'll just say that they're all real, right? They're all accidents. They're all freak accidents that have taken place that have sort of crippled the supply chain as far as food goes for a lot of big places. Additionally, you have a shortage of truck drivers. And then additionally, you have an abundance of other items that are just being sat on right now, right? And they're telling their suppliers not to bring them over because there's just an abundance. And so you have, on many fronts, too many things, a glut of supply is what we're witnessing. And so now a lot of places are like, we just need to get rid of it. And you deal with anybody in logistics and logistics, purchasing, etc., that have to deal with truck drivers, shipping containers from across the world, etc. They'll tell you that the reason prices are going up are because, at least in part, the shipping is gone up dramatically because now they have to make up for the money that they lost 3 years ago. For 3 years, they lost money. And so that's part of it. They have to make up for the money. It's just more.
How did the shipping companies didn't lose no money, dude? Shipping's been going crazy.
Dude, but what I'm telling you is that these shipping companies, they've been sitting in ports sometimes for months.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about like shipping containers, like shipping things across seas.
Yes, international. So we have an international economy. And what's at the helm of that international economy? The United States dollar, because it's the global reserve currency. Yeah. China gives Sri Lanka debt. The reason Sri Lanka is crumbling.
Well, hold on. Yeah. Let's not get too.
Sri Lanka
I'm still trying to understand your view here.
Yeah, the reason Sri Lanka is crumbling, in part and large, by and large, is because they're unable to pay back their debts. And who did China loan their debt out to? They loaned it in China lent them money in what? Not yen. They lent them money in the United States dollar. Okay, so when you have a global economy.
That's actually really smart.
Yes, everybody does this. This is the thing. This is like, when you think about deflation, you have to, like, it's hard.
It's really smart that China loaned them the money in dollars rather than in.
No, I know. And the reason they do that is because the interest rate is much lower in the United States dollar. And so this is why, if you listen to.
Well, that's not where I was getting at. Because if you loan them the money in dollars and you know that there's a chance that they might not be able to pay it back, then that doesn't negatively affect the yuan as opposed to, I think this would actually negatively affect. Huh?
China wants their dollars. That's the thing. Everybody wants their dollars.
Well,
dollar is
the China just dumped a crap ton of treasuries last year, like
it doesn't mean that they
or
don't want
last
the
month. They
dollar
just
because
they're starting their own currency. What do you mean they don't want the dollar?
because China, well, as I've stated in the beginning, it's not going to happen for a long time. And so what are they using right now? They're using the United States dollar because they have to. So obviously they're not going to just sabotage the dollar, because if they sabotage the dollar, they'll be sabotaging the global economy, which will in turn sabotage themselves. So they
Well,
need to strategically leverage themselves over
well, some could
time.
argue they've already been doing that the past few years.
Yes. So as I was just saying, they need to strategically leverage themselves to when the moment is right, they can flip it. But they're not in that position right now. So right now they do need the dollars. They do want the dollars. They still offer the dollars because it offers a low interest rate. It's the global reserve.
Yeah.
Easiest thing to do. So
I think what they're going to do is they're going to wait for the dollar to collapse before they unveil their new thing. Is what I think is going to happen.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's too hard to predict. But
well,
anyway,
I'm just telling you my prediction. That's all.
yeah. So,
and as far as the inflation thing, the prices of things have gone up. And you're saying that, like, if you buy local from a local farmer or whatever, then it's going to be cheaper. Obviously, you can't buy gas from a local farmer. That's a more globalized item.
Of course.
So, but whenever people give an average price of things, they take the average across everything, like local farmers, everything. I would assume they take the average.
No, they
okay,
don't.
maybe they don't take the price of local farmers.
No, the CPI only they can interchange the basket of goods in the CPI.
Yeah, it's really corrupt way they measure things.
Yes, which is where people get their inflation from, and it's not accurate.
All I'm saying is when people are trying to measure inflation, they take the prices of everything. It's not like
no, they don't. So if you look at the CPI, which is what everybody goes off of, it's just a collective basket of goods. And the most of the baskets of goods are food and fuel. And food and fuel are heavily affected by the supply chain breakdown right now. Heavily.
Okay, I get it. Well, what I'm saying is whenever people are saying the prices of eggs are going up and you're like, they're not going up. Well,
yes, no, that's not my argument. So once again, I don't know. I have to keep stating this again. If you're going to the big block stores where
I get it. But that's what most people are doing. That's what most people are doing. And that's
inflation. And I've already defined the type of inflation which they're feeling. It's called demand pull inflation. Yeah. It's not the same kind of inflation which everybody's talking about and feeling. That we're
with the printing of the money. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, the demand pull inflation is like there's this.
No, I get what you're saying, Louis. I get what you're saying. You're saying that demand pull inflation is it's not regular inflation, it's demand pull inflation. And you're really only going to experience this if you depend on those things. Right?
In a way, yes. Like demand pull inflation, there's a shortage of supplies, prices go up, the demand's up. Right?
And they don't like when the government reports CPI, they don't differentiate the demand pull inflation for the regular inflation, which I guess you just called regular.
Which is what everybody's getting wrong, in my opinion. I'm not an economist.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. The money printer did go burr. You do think that did have some type of effect? Like, did it raise prices? I mean, are you blaming it all on the supply chain, or is there some factor in there of the money printer?
So what did people have to spend their money on during the lockdown? Not much.
I'm asking you a simple question. Like, do you think?
I know. So what I'm getting at here is money printer went burr during lockdown.
Okay.
Money printer went burr during lockdown. Everybody was in their homes.
Yeah, but people were buying all kinds of stuff through Amazon and
maybe, but
no, it's the truth. People were, man. The mail trucks and Amazon trucks were going ham.
Yes. So I mean, yes, you can say that. However, the supply chain was greatly infected. So there was a lot of things you couldn't purchase. There was a lot of things that were hard to get. There were a lot of panic buying going on.
Yeah, I get it.
So, but then there were also a lot of people that just sat on cash, man. A lot of people sat on cash.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is a lot more people sat on cash than spent it frivolously during the lockdown. And this is why, in part, housing prices have gone up significantly because people were sitting on loads of cash. Loads of cash. They were like, yo, we're going to overpay for this house by like twofold, threefold, and we're going to put cash down for a 20% payment. Like, it was insane. It still is insane. And now things are cooling down. And that's because people aren't spending the money the same way they were spending the money recently.
Okay.
And that has a lot to do with the lockdown and like people. So
the money printer can go burr all at once, but you're saying unless people spend the money,
yes,
then it doesn't affect the price.
No. So you know Hex, right? So think about Hex. Hex is an inflationary cryptocurrency. I'm going to explain it for everybody that's in here as well. Hex is an inflationary cryptocurrency. It has no limit to how many Hex coins will be minted. You stake your Hex, you're minting Hex, right? So you have a 15-year stake, you're minting Hex throughout those 15 years. But guess what? That inflation that you're generating will never affect the non-staker for that 15-year period until the money is unlocked. So if you look at what's taking place right now, money printer go burr, but if nobody's spending the fucking money, then the money printer, the surplus money that's going out, isn't going to affect the prices across the board.
But people have been spending the money.
They have, but they're not spending it at the pace that would be rational to describe a hyperinflationary period, or even the inflationary period that they're describing, because what's more logical is you shut down the world for 3 years. Now you pay for ruining the supply chains.
Okay, so back to my original question. Like, do you think that if the supply chain was just fine and the money printer went burr, do you think prices still would have went up? Like, does it affect people? So you're saying that people were spending money like crazy, but not enough. Did the money printing raise prices?
They were only spending it in certain areas. They were
buying houses way above asking price.
Yes, so that's one area.
Amazon had like all-time high supposedly per shipping. People were buying anything. People were just at home buying shit. Like, I mean, so it baffles me that the money printer go burr. Like, you don't think that actually had an effect. Like, you think that it just didn't matter.
I'm saying inflation has a role, but what we're actually encountering is a deflationary period right now where things, if you look at where you can go to your local supply chains, where you go outside of the global supply chain that's dependent, you find things for the same price, if not cheaper. One example is lumber. Lumber went up during the lockdowns, and everybody was like, inflation, inflation, inflation. Look at inflation, inflation. But really, the reason why the price went up in lumber is because of fucking supply chain issues. Nobody was able to get a decent amount. Like, it was really hard to get a certain amount of it. And so suppliers were like, yo, we have to make sure we're going to charge up for this because we don't know when we can get this next. So we got to make sure we're going to get our money's worth from it, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, that's how most. This
is what's driving it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you go and look at Walmart, you look at Target, you look at
everything is supply chain. It doesn't. The money printer could go burr all day, and it I guess in an essence it wouldn't matter if you have the correct supply chain. Like, if you lived in Zimbabwe where they have hyperinflation, but you happen to know a guy who has like thousands of chickens, he might be able to hook you up with free eggs. That means that you're experiencing zero inflation in that product.
So this is also why I state this. There were people, this is precisely why I say this. There were people during the Civil War in America who had no clue there was a civil war going on.
Okay.
And this is why I'm also very adamant at the fact that people should be localizing their supply chains, because your issues will be greatly reduced by doing so.
Well, what I'm saying is, I guess what I'm getting at is, So money printer go bird doesn't even matter. It's totally all supply chain.
It does matter. That's not what I'm saying.
But you haven't told me how. You just keep bringing it back to the supply chain issue. And if you know a local farmer, you can get it for cheaper, so it doesn't matter. And it only affects people who are in the global economy.
Okay, so first off, do you know this thing called the Cantillon effect?
Yeah, isn't that the thing where like people with more money, you know, they get richer over time or something?
So the Cantillon effect is this. The simple way you can put it, people with the closest access to the money printer get the money first. So most of the money that was printed was given to the wealthiest individuals first. And what did they do with it? They bought fucking stocks. They bought real estate. They bought bunkers. Fact. They bought properties outside of the United States. They were moving outside of the United States. These are all the things that they were buying. And so then most of the money that people were getting weren't, a lot of it, myself, for example, right? We got the stimulus checks. Our stimulus checks went into investment products. I didn't use it for anything else aside from investing. Okay? Not many people did that, but a lot of other people were like, okay, the not so smart people went and used their stimmy checks on a TV, where some other people went and spent their stimmy checks on home improvements. Okay? The more rational users out of the bunch would have used it on home improvements, would have used it on a car payment, would have used it on things like that, okay, to pay down debts. But most of the money that was printed, that 40% of money in circulation was given to the wealthiest of the wealthiest who are closest to the money printer. And they were buying stocks, they were buying real estates, they were buying bunkers, they were moving, they were doing things like crazy to get out of cash. Okay, so the Cantillon effect is trickling down, infecting us all. That doesn't mean, so my whole point here is that a lot of the money was spent into these assets during a scared time where everybody was panicking. And this is where people say buy when everybody's panicking. Then we had this huge bull market. Now we have this huge liquidation going on and money and the stock market collapsing, crypto collapsing, whatever. But it's not even really doing that. It's just correcting itself, really, is what it is, from all of the money printing that was given to the wealthiest individuals first, who mostly put it into assets. So and this also doesn't mean, Mick, that we won't experience inflation in the future from the money printing. I think we will. But right now, what we are looking at and what we're heading towards is a deflationary period, and that will lead into the Depression. If you look at the last Great Depression, the Great Depression was caused by deflation. It wasn't caused by inflation.
I heard you say that.
It was caused by deflation. And this is because, I mean, people, I went over this numerous times, but yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Money printing is not a good thing infinitely. It's not. It's provably not a good thing.
So basically, your whole argument that you just did this big, long explanation about is that the money printer goes burr. That doesn't mean it causes inflation right away, but like maybe down the road, it takes a while for its effects to go into place.
Essentially, yes, it's going to take a long time. Like so obviously we feel inflation, right? $1 today doesn't go as far as $1 did 50 years ago. Fact, everybody knows that.
I can still hear you, but I'm going to plug in my charger.
Yeah, so obviously inflation is something that we're facing right now. But the real reason we're seeing the economic cool down and what's causing the recession and what will cause the depression is a deflationary period, right? So there's a lot of job openings right now. People want to call this stagflation, but there's a lot of job openings right now. Okay, cool. People need to work. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be, in my opinion, a lot of these companies that run off of debt, that are only surviving because of debt, they are going to not make it. They're going to have to shut down because they're running off of debt, because the debt isn't going to be given to them because the money printer is being cut off. And the only way that you're making more money is if you have more debt. But if you have no more debt, you can't really make any more money. And so they cut off a lot of these companies. And so a lot of these companies go under. What does that mean? It's a great opportunity for everybody in here listening to pay attention to the industries that are going to go through these tragedies and see what you can do to help your community replace those companies, right? So then what happens is those people that lost their jobs in these zombie corporations are going to be able to find other jobs in industries near where they live, right? Because there's a high demand for workers still. I don't know about you, but I'm still seeing help wanted signs all over the place. All over.
Yeah, I'm still seeing them all over the place too.
Like, people need workers desperately.
So you're saying that you think that obviously there must be some type of ulterior motive as to why the media is saying that inflation is because of money printer go burr, as opposed to the supply chain thing. Like, the media isn't highlighting the supply chain thing because they don't want
to admit that they messed up the economy.
Yeah.
They were totally wrong about cough and sniffles, and they messed up the economy because it make everybody upset. Everybody's already upset because they know the narrative is nonsense.
Yeah.
And so adding fuel to the fire. And it's also an easy scapegoat to say, well, we didn't know we didn't know printing this much money would cause this many problems.
Whenever reality, everybody said that, hey, what are you doing? Like,
right, exactly.
Nobody didn't think that it could be bad.
Yeah, I get it. Like, money, like, it's not good what they did. I'm not defending them, right? So I want to make this very clear. I'm not defending the immense amount of money printing they did. I don't know personally what should have been done in that situation, but obviously what they picked wasn't the right decision. I mean, I do know that they shouldn't have locked everything down, right? Because that's what we're feeling. Like, you can't do that. So just as I said before, the effects of the inflation will be felt later. The same thing with the supply chain, but we're feeling the supply chain now.
Well, the whole thing with the supply chain that we're talking about, how everything was shut down, that already kind of, like, we're still feeling the lingering effects from that.
Dude,
and
no,
it seems like.
Do you know people that are in? Do you know people that are in logistics? I know people personally and very intimately who are in logistics. Dude, it is insane how much the prices are still up. It's insane.
Well, people still offer free shipping sometimes, so it can't be that bad.
Dude, no, like, you're looking at it from...
Is free shipping going away? Is that what you're saying?
Like, you're looking at it, and I'm not trying to be condescending, but from a too narrow, small-minded point of view, my man. Think about how many other industries there are, right? So Amazon and eBay, one thing, right? And those buyers, those sellers of certain items that can offer a free shipping, they have, there's not a lot. There's a couple big companies like Amazon who have created their own supply chain, which is why they've done well. Most people don't know this.
Yeah.
Amazon, the reason they've done so well during this time is because they have their own fucking private airplanes. They have their own private everything for supply chains.
I see what you're getting at, like other, like any other type of shipping, like semi-trucks delivering stuff, or even like port shipping.
The majority of it, which is like 90% of it, because most companies can't do what Amazon does. They just can't.
Yeah.
And so they're
gone up a lot.
dependent on a bunch of third parties, for a bunch of middlemen, and those shipping containers, dude, I'm telling you,
it's lingering. It's like lingering.
Offline,
but what I'm saying is it's lingering, right? Like, this is all because they're like so backed up, and it's like lingering from the 2 years of nonsense.
Yes. This is the big effect, and this is also playing a role in the housing market too, right? Because we had this moratorium where you couldn't evict people during this time either. But Mick, I'll tell you right now that offline, I will disclose a lot of this information with you. But I can't there's a lot of reasons why I really can't go too much in depth about the info I have, but it is inside, dude. Very, very much inside. And it's not just one person, it's a couple. It's pretty insane, dude. And I'll tell you, these are big companies I'm talking about too. These are global companies, and I'll tell you offline. I'll be able to disclose everything with you offline, but I can't do it here online. And
So
I'm sorry, everybody online. I just can't.
So there's a lingering effect that's getting worse potentially because things are exacerbating in the whole cough and sniffle and stuff like that too.
Yes.
But there's a lingering effect from that. But what I'm talking about with the food and gas, that is a more recent thing with all the global things we've been having going on and the accidents, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Because we know that right now with the war in Ukraine and Russia, there's a global supply chain to feed the world, my man. Fertilizer, grain, a bunch of other shit as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the reason why gas and fuel have gone up recently is because there have been more recent supply chain issues.
No, so once again, you lock down the world. Do you remember when oil went negative?
Yeah, and this was during the lockdowns.
Yes.
And now we're not in the lockdowns. And well, we haven't been in for quite some time, but then now there's the other things where the world economies are like trying to destroy gas, it seems like, and petroleum, and everybody thinks that that's why, or actually nobody thinks that's why. They just want to blame Russia. So what I'm saying is like, yeah, all the other stuff other than food and gas, we have lingering supply chain issues. But as far as food and gas is concerned, I think that that's more of a recent thing, which recently it has gone up. And that's because of the whole West's attack on petroleum and, well, I don't know who's attacking food, but they're, maybe they're accidents. That's what I'm saying is like, this is all a more recent thing for the food and fuel.
Well, it's not recent for the food for sure, because once again, as I stated, because of the Russian war, more people are learning about the fact that even our food is globally dependent on the supply chain. There are farmers that are worried about the nitrogen that they can get, the fertilizer they can get, the grains they can get.
Yeah, but it is a more recent thing that we're seeing these prices go up.
Because once again, the lockdowns shut down the world. And so if fertilizer, if the nitrogen, if the grain is being disrupted right now because of a war, it was disrupted as well back when nobody could get international supplies.
Yeah, but I think people had more access to it because those were like essential things. They were still trading grains and fuel.
Yes, but so that's one part of it, right? So the grain, the fertilizer, all this stuff that was harder to get, more expensive to get, more risky to get because of the lockdowns, right? But do you not recall the government in the United States telling farmers to dump their milk, to dump their cheese, to get rid of a lot of I remember this.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, actually I remember some of that. Yeah. I mean,
that was going on
that was like later into the cough and sniffle thing.
Yeah, that was like mid-lockdown, right?
Well, it's because it was starting to go bad supposedly and stuff.
Well, and so regulations and laws said that they couldn't reallocate the milk and other products for other purposes. And so the whole destruction, if you will, of food has been going on much longer than recent. And then we also know that.
I mean, I agree with you there. Yeah, I agree with you there. But it's like that lingers on, and then it's like being exacerbated even more. So I guess in essence, it's all lingering and exacerbating and getting worse.
And it's very complicated, right? Because that's why I'm trying to be careful when I'm saying like it's deflation, not inflation. When I say it's deflation, not inflation, I'm mostly talking about the fact that are the point of inflation where everybody's like, yo, money printer go burr, everybody's spending their money, prices go up. Not really the case right now. Really what's happened is money printer went burr. People are spending money, yes, but not like crazy amounts of money, not to the point where it would cause hyperinflation or a lot of inflation across the board. But what's really happening is you have to factor in the supply chain. So inflation is being caused by the supply chain breakdown. But then also simultaneously, you have deflation because of the supply chain breakdown, because companies have a glut of items, which are most items that people will get aside from food and gas, right? Because we do know that gas is being attacked, right? Gas, oil, fossil fuels. There's really no incentive for these companies to go and try and increase production when we have a hostile government against them, right? It doesn't make sense to do that. I get that. I understand that from a business perspective and economic perspective. It's hard to do so. However, and then with the food too, right? The food, we're looking at think about the food worldwide right now. Most of the people that are protesting are farmers. So that's damaging the food supply even more. And it's because of draconian measures that will damage their logistical aspects and their ability to, transport goods, and not transport goods, but make goods. So it's multi-layered, right? So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the inflation that we're experiencing, in your opinion, is from supply chain. And that's why we're not experiencing hyperinflation, because it's not from money printer go burr. So like in Zimbabwe and Venezuela, is that because of it? Was it money printer go burr? Or was that also a supply chain thing? I'm just trying to make the link between, because I believe in Venezuela there was a lot of supply chain issues.
Yeah. So once again, it's all intertwined, man.
And were they just blowing money like crazy in Venezuela? Like they had money to blow, or it's just really confusing, and that's why I'm trying to pick your brain.
I get it. I really do get where you're coming from. So, I guess the best way I can answer it is like this. First off, I did not study what happened in its entirety to Venezuela. I'm sure you haven't either, so I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly what happened there. But what I can do is look at it from our point of view and from what I know, and it's this. As we've already stated, that it's going to come in stages, right? Supply chain and a little bit of the money printer, we're feeling that right now. And then eventually, most of the money printer and all the money in circulation is going to cause people to go spending like crazy, hyperinflation probably. We'll probably experience.
But what causes that crazy spending? Because it's like, I feel like if people were able to do it, they'd do it now. Like, why are we not experiencing that?
Yeah, because
like people don't have the money, or what? Like,
so I think that's part of it.
But the money printer went burr. So it's just like the people who have the money don't need to, and all the other people are just don't have the money.
Yeah, I mean, because most of the money went to the most wealthiest people, and
we have to wait till the rich people panic, and then they give all the other rich people their money and blow it. It's just
yeah. So in deflationary periods, just like it's the opposite of inflationary periods, right? So inflationary periods, people have the mindset to buy today because they're not going to get the same price tomorrow. It's going to be much more expensive. So the opposite would be in deflationary periods. People don't buy today because they'll get it cheaper for tomorrow. Well, eventually that cheaper for tomorrow will run out. And then what you're going to have is people spending money like crazy when prices are really, really cheap. And that drives the prices up on a lot of things, is what I think will happen. I'm not an economist, though. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I am. But if I'm just looking at it from if we're experiencing deflation, which I do think we are, I think the evidence is there. I think it's much more logical to explain deflation than inflation at this time. That once deflation is really felt, people will then start spending more money potentially on items that they don't necessarily need. Or what happens is we experience simultaneously massive deflation on things like TVs, computers, microphones, couches, etc., like massive deflation. But at the same time, we're experiencing huge inflation on gas and food. So I don't know. I don't really know. But it could be simultaneous things that we're experiencing at one time, right? Where it's just confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely is what it is. There's a lot of different things going on, and everyone's just trying to make sense of it.
For sure. For sure. So I can't sit here and pretend like I have all the answers, but I do feel very passionate about the fact that it is deflation that we're primarily feeling right now. There's a huge misrepresentation of the type of inflation we're experiencing at the moment. And first off, I'm no economist, guys. I just read, I think, I listen to people, and these are my opinions. I could be wrong, but what we're actually starting to see right now too is more mainstream places and alternative places starting to blame deflation as opposed to inflation. This is becoming more common now. So,
well, a lot of people say stagflation too, which is like high inflation combined with a slower economy. So they're saying like the inflation's high, people are spending less. What I do know is gas prices have gone down, at least where we live.
Yes.
But diesel has not gone down pretty much at all. And I know I was talking to you about this the other day, and you were like, gas hasn't really gone down, or I thought that's what you said.
No, you're right. Like gas
has gone down like 25% or 20%.
Yeah. So
and diesel, my brother said diesel's only gone like 10% down, or like 10 cents down, or some crazy stuff.
I don't know. Maybe it's slower for diesel to move. I usually don't know how they correlate with each other.
Well, there's probably a much higher demand for diesel because you can't pick or choose with diesel. Like, people.
You need the diesel to get the gas, right?
You just have to,
Exactly. Like the fuel tankers are operating on diesel.
There are no deflationary decisions with diesel. You know how you were saying deflationary, like you wait for the next day for it to drop, which I do a lot. I was trying to play the markets there with the oil for a while, or for the gas. You can wait. Oh, maybe I'll wait to fill up my tank tomorrow because maybe it'll be, a little bit cheaper. And now you can't do that in diesel. So maybe they're not affected by that.
Yeah, I mean, because your truck drivers, what are they going to do? They're like, hey, I got to go drive tomorrow. I got to fill up regardless of what the price is.
Yeah.
Travel, are your same thing with your shipping containers, right? I'm pretty sure they run off of diesel, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Some of them do.
Yeah, so it's like
I heard some trains run off of diesel.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the big machinery is running off of diesel. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and it's kind of the same for gas, but there's more people who are like, I can hold off today because, I only drive 15 miles for work. Whereas, the truck driver, the train conductor, the ship, I don't know, freaking sailor, they're like, yo, we got to leave today because we're going to have a 4-day haul. We got to fill up now. So, yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. It's interesting, I mean, we're living in interesting times. I just think that nobody's really talking about deflation. This is a really good time to talk about deflation, explain it, and how we're experiencing it.
I've been hearing some people talking. Actually, my boy E.B. Tucker, you heard of him. He just had a video with Stansberry Research recently, and he was saying that he thinks we're going to be going into deflationary times. He didn't say that like right now is the time, but he said he thinks we're going to be going into like insane deflation.
Yeah, which is kind of what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, we are experiencing deflation right now. It's not insane deflation. It's not obvious to people. But hey man, I've been on this fucking train for like a few months, like before a lot of people, at least publicly, were talking about it. Like,
yeah,
I've been willing to go out there and be like, yo, you guys are all wrong talking about inflation, and that's what we're going into. And, a lot of people bring it. I don't know. Just look at gold.
Well, I feel like we are experiencing inflation, but I feel like deflation could be the next stage of advancing into what things are going to
Well, that's
become. And
typically how it works, from what I understand. I think that we're currently experiencing deflation for some things, for a lot of things.
That's like you were saying. It's like everything. It's very complicated. There's different sections of the economy, and
exactly, like there's different stages, right, that we're going to go through. So the one that's going to lead us into recessions and depression is deflation. But everybody's so focused on hyperinflation because everybody who gets involved in the economy, in finances, in trading, whatever, they're like, yo, I want to put money in stocks because assets do well in inflationary times. But nobody tells them, you buy a stock during deflation, you're losing money, bro. You better be able to hold on to that thing for like 5 years.
Well, that's actually where I think that's where I was disagreeing with you in the first place, is because I do believe that it goes in stages. And I think what we have been experiencing is inflation, and we're going to be moving into a deflationary period. Or stagflation. I don't know. But I think that we were in an inflationary period and we're like transitioning into the next thing. And that's where I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I really do get it. But I would even say that there were telltale signs that really what we were experiencing was deflation. It was just hard to see. And the telltale sign I would use, gold and silver, man. Like, I get it. You can make the argument that the markets are manipulated, whatever.
And it's a shitty argument. It's a sad argument.
It is. It really is.
It really is.
It really is. That's why I'm like, I don't really.
But it's the truth, man. You cannot deny it is the truth. Like, gold and silver is used for much more. I hate the argument that people try to say gold and silver is just used for the money thing, man. There's much more to it. It's a store of wealth. It's not a get rich scheme. It's a long-term, it's a store of wealth. That's the thing. Like, people who invest in gold and silver think they're going to get rich. Like, that's not how it works. It's not like crypto.
Yeah, like, I get it. Like, that's why I learned so much about gold and silver, because I was like, we're going through hyperinflation. They just keep printing money. Holy fuck, I need to get gold. I need to get silver. And guess what? We'll be set, because the gold and silver prices are going to go through the roof. But then through the whole time I was thinking about that, I was like, but what would the world look like with $50,000 ounce silver? Probably not.
You wouldn't be able to cash out your stocks, probably.
Probably not, right? So, but anyway, the point is, like, I get it. You can make the argument that the markets are manipulated, that they're suppressing the price. I get it. I know they're corrupt. I know these things are real. I get it. However, I don't think that alone is strong enough to suppress gold and silver in inflationary periods. I get your point too, Mick. They're used for much more than just money. I'm with you 100%. We agree on this 1,000%. But from an economic standpoint, if we were experiencing inflation, silver would not be going down in price. Gold would not be going down and staying stagnant in price. It would be going up. Slowly, but it'd be going up.
Tesla's going to be using all their government money they get to just load up on silver and gold for their electronics. That way they can make the next RoboCop.
Right.
Did you hear that in New York they have like these robotic dogs, and they're going to have them start patrolling the streets here soon? Is that the
video that's been going around where the dogs are like shooting?
There's a lot of different things. People have been talking about these robotic dogs a lot, and like the robot, like AI in general, because there's a lot of different companies, and like China is also getting into this a lot, like the whole robot thing. But yeah, some of these companies are mounting like weapons to them, and there were some videos going around about that, but that's more for like military stuff. But we're moving into a crazy age of robots, and
we are.
But all that is brought to you by gold and silver.
Yeah, this is true. I don't know how bad things are going to get with robots, though. I know.
I mean, I don't know how bad it's going to get. I mean, I'm just bringing it up. I mean, I'm not going to be very happy if there's robotic surveillance dogs walking around. I'll tell you that. I think that's wrong.
Who knows? Maybe they'll be.
But it's going to happen. The surveillance state just keeps growing and growing. It's like a disease.
Well, for where we live, you know.
It's the whole world. What are you talking about?
No,
Everywhere. The whole world wants to do it.
no, that's not true.
What are you talking about? It's like the whole cough and sniffle thing and all. It's like the whole climate thing. All the countries are all for it. Like it and the
No,
surveillance. I don't see any countries that are against censorship.
Yeah, I mean, first off, it's
Is
not.
there a tribe somewhere in some strange country that nobody knows about, or that most people don't know about?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I would use that as an example, but also Sweden, right? Sweden didn't listen to anything.
Really?
No, they never locked down. They never enforced any mandates.
Well, how are they on the sun?
Good.
The sun problems.
Well, that's not even legit. I mean, if you look at 2017,
Yeah, but we'll have to ask, like, what's Sweden's stance on that? Like, are they for that? Is that the one thing? I mean, that's really cool about Sweden, and I'm sure you're probably looking into real estate there now.
yeah, right. Yeah, no, definitely not, because I think the Swedes have much more bigger issues anyway. I wouldn't want to live there because I think that they're not. I don't know. I can't go into it too much.
Are they part of the NATO's?
They're trying to become one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, them and the Finns.
Yep.
Fish people.
Yep. No, I mean, the whole heat thing has caused a lot of people that are not from Sweden to move to Sweden, if you catch my drift.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly. And that is, I'll share with you some articles because there's pretty.
Move up north because it's colder up there.
I think it's bad for everybody. The people that are moving there biologically do not belong there. They're not. I mean, you just look at. I can't talk about it too much.
They're mixing it up too much, huh?
Yes. I can't talk about it too much because
mixing up the blue jeans.
That's right. They got blue jeans with red jeans. You can't go walking down.
Blue jeans and khakis don't go together. You got to pick one or the other.
Exactly. Like you're not going to wear your turtleneck sweater with your football jersey. You're not going to.
I don't know, man. I'm a man. I love everything. You know, I love all different cultures and all the different women. You know, I'm not going to discriminate. I mean, I love my woman the most, obviously.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Well, they're just trying to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? You know.
And it's not good.
Well, who am I to judge?
I mean,
if I lived in Germany and I was trying to move to Sweden, you know, I would hope somebody wouldn't be upset with me.
That's totally different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you are wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and then you're moving to the Arctic without snow boots, without pants, without a jacket, without a hat.
Well, maybe they think that the weather's going to change there, and then they'll be okay to keep wearing their shorts.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I wear shorts in the wintertime sometimes when I go outside just for a few seconds.
Yeah, I do too.
Who are we to talk as Ohioans?
I'm a Michigander.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, I think it's time to end the stream now.
Right. But yeah, so hopefully we'll be back on here on MOT News the 24th. And we'll be good boys. It's me. I can't blame Mick. I can't blame James. Nobody else. It's all me, guys. My videos are the ones that get censored on TikTok.
That's why he shaved his beard to change his identity so they can't spot him anymore. They're like, oh, it's not him. So-
Exactly. Like I'm trying to confuse the algorithm and the artificial intelligence watching me. I'm like, hey guys,
Dude, now you need to shave your hair. Just do a mohawk.
I shouldn't have the most mustache.
And then do the mohawk like rainbow colors. And then do the mustache the way you were talking about it earlier.
Dude, I would confuse. Dude, that would be great. I should do my
TikTok would go down. They'd be like, TikTok is temporarily down. Like,
right. They're like, what do we do? That I'm over here saying the N word, calling everybody the F word. You fat. Can't even say it. Man, man.
all right, well,
Life would be great.
we hope
Life was
we
great.
were able to provide you guys with some quality entertainment and keep you ahead of the curve.
Yeah, like deflation. Everybody was talking about deflation. Nobody was talking about it. And who was talking about it first against all odds? MOT. Mick gets, Mick is good at this stuff too, right? So, like, we talk about stuff before you'll hear it on the news. So why not just listen to us? Why? Why would you ever go into your car and say, oh, I want to get informed. Let me turn on NPR. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you ever get into your car and say, oh, let me go put on the Daily Wire so I can have Mr. Small Hat Shapiro tell me what I should think? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that? Okay.
Well, I personally do it sometimes just because, I've already heard what we had to say, but
I get it, Mick. We're here.
oh, we're talking to the other people. Yeah, why would you do that? You're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, you want to know why I read other sources? It's because I'm trying to tell you
they're wrong.
Like what's important. Okay. Like they're gonna tell you this, they're gonna tell you that, and they're wrong. Look at what just came out about depression, okay? Chemical imbalance for years. I've been saying that is a myth for years. Okay. Nobody listened to me. It's all good, but now nobody listened to Tom Cruise either.
I haven't seen that. You'll have to send that to me. Or
Tom Cruise
after this.
Years ago, he was like, "Yo, there ain't no chemical imbalance."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's based.
Tom Cruise gets it.
I guess he's based, but at the same time, like
not. But he kind of is when it comes to that.
Yeah,
he's partially based. Like you could be based
like Sweden. Like Sweden. He's partially based like Sweden.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe he's Swedish.
Swedish.
That's where the Guidestones came from. They were handcrafted in Sweden.
Which, by the way, did you catch that stream earlier that I did about the attack on private property?
No, I didn't. I told you I was busy.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it or something while I'm at work or something.
It's only like 17 minutes. It's not very long.
I saw that. It was very short.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you got kicked off again.
No. There was just, no interaction on the TikTok page. So, and that's because, we're building up another backup to.
Come on, guys. We want you to interact with us.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
Come on, let's dance.
What I'm talking about, like it's hard. It's
hard out here for a pimp.
What's that?
I said it's hard out here for a pimp.
Yes, this is true. I got to make sure they have that money for the rent. That's the truth, man. You look at Hustle and Flow, they'll show you. It's hard out here for a pimp. Gotta make the money for the rent, something like that. With all the gas money Cadillac spent.
We'll have to turn that on after the stream. You're gonna have to.
We'll turn it on right now, dude. We'll attract people in here. Who cares if this one gets blocked for like 2 days? Because I don't think we're streaming tomorrow, and we'll be streaming on the 24th on freaking.
Yeah, but we're streaming on Sunday.
Yeah, so we'll have access to MOT News by Monday.
No, I'm talking about Sunday.
Yeah. Hard out here for a pimp. There it is. You guys ready for this? This is my life, by the way. Okay.
Uh-oh.
This is my life.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to hit a cigar while you do that.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get this money for the real. For the Cadillacs and gas when it's spent. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get this money for the real.
Any of y'all pimps out there want to comment, like, subscribe?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even think I've ever heard this song actually. I think what I've heard a song before where they like use those like where they like use part of that song as theirs. I can't remember. I don't know what that's called, but
It says
It's blood, sweat, tears when it come down to this shit. I'm
Hustle and Flow.
trying
Yeah.
before I leave about this bitch. I'm trying to have things to this shit.
Was that Pimp C you said?
Before I leave about this bitch. I'm trying to have things, but it's hard for a
Yeah, it says Pimp C up there. Just scroll up. Pimp C.
oh yeah. There's a 3-6 Mafia song.
That's probably the one that I heard before.
Let's see.
Oh, we're going ham tonight.
$15 million.
We are.
Hey, that's where I went to school. Dude, that is weird.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's probably because it's yours.
Time is going down. History,
Probably.
baby.
Oh, this ain't the one anyway that I was thinking about.
This is a good one though.
Young buck.
Yeah.
There it is, right here.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp when he drop.
No, I don't think that's the other one either. You know, it's a very used, it's a very popular song, the one that you're referring to. So a lot of different artists have used it.
Try this. Ain't shit but hoes and pricks.
Uh-oh. Come on, man.
There you go, Dr. Dre. Whoa! Okay.
All right, man.
Get kicked out for sure.
Let's not ruin MOT while we just got up to 1,000. Y'all like, share, subscribe. You know, we're on everything. Love us. Stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, you know, you guys are our hoes. We're the pimp. Give us that money
Yeah.
because we got to make that rent. You know, if we don't pay our Wi-Fi bills, we can't go live.
This is true. And it keeps going up.
This is true, but I guess we have data. So I mean, you could always use data without the Wi-Fi. But anyway, guys, we're outie.